Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We just wanted to take a quick moment to say thank you.
We deeply appreciate all of the support. If you have any video ideas at all, go ahead, throw them in the comments. We'll go through them. Enjoy.
On that note, we're going to get into what today's video is about. So there seems to be a lot of questions wrapped around seed starting, especially indoors in advance. I'm going to do an experiment that is going to show you all the different methods of how to start seeds indoors, and then you can kind of figure out which one works best for you. Timing for starting them is pretty critical. So you're going to want to take full advantage of your outdoor growing season while you have it. We are considered medium grow season here in Zone 6A. So we have from May 1st until November 1st, and you kind of want to have your seeds ready to go and start almost producing fruit by the time you plant them outside, so you can get the most out of your harvest as possible. If we ever end up growing too much food that our family can eat, we give it to friends, neighbors, family, or we just preserve it. We can it, we freeze it. I make meals with the items in the meals that I freeze for some healthy, organic winter dinners for us. So I'm going to be coming down here every morning and watering the seeds, and I will show you a quick clip of the daily progress so you can kind of follow along and see how the methods are going. And if you think maybe you have started your indoor seeds a little too late for your grow season, after this experiment, you might be pleasantly surprised to find out there is going to be a method that will work for you. Okay, so before we plant our seeds in the seed cell trays, you want to take the dirt you're going to use and pour it into a bowl, and you're going to want to pour water onto it until the entire batch of dirt feels damp. You don't want it to be soggy, obviously, but if you put the dirt in the trays dry, somehow it just does not hold moisture. So you'll water them, and then you'll see the water just all go to the bottom, but the actual inside of the dirt never actually gets wet. It sounds backwards, but trust me, this is a step you don't want to miss. So we're going to go ahead and dampen the dirt. So now that we added, I'd say about a half a gallon of water, it actually takes way more than you'd expect it to. Just to the point where if you squeezed it, a little bit of water would come out. Again, nothing too crazy and soggy. So now that the dirt is ready, we are going to fill the seed cell trays. So this is a pretty easy and self-explanatory part. We're pretty much just going to take the seed cell tray and fill it with dirt, and you don't want to over compact it in, but you don't want it too loose either, because over time the dirt will settle and you'll notice that you need more dirt in there. So you're going to fill it kind of just to the top evenly, and then once they're all filled in, I'm going to go ahead and do the other three, and then we will start planting the seeds. So before I even plant the seeds, I kind of like to label what row is going to be what food, just so I don't get confused when planting or accidentally planting the wrong one. So I've got 4 labeled: tomato, cucumber, pepper, and zucchini. And I'm going to go ahead and stick, this row will be tomatoes, in all 4 of the seed cell trays. I guess I could have just moved this light for now. Then we'll do cucumbers. It just helps to eliminate the confusion, as you know, when you're planting and you're just looking at a bunch of dirt-filled cells, it can be confusing as to where you left off and whatnot. So this just eliminates that confusion. So that's what it's going to look like. Sometimes these do end up like the marker on them does get a little bit, when it gets moisture in there, a little bit blurry and whatnot, but usually the plastic ones are the most ideal to use. So now that we have all of our trays filled with dirt, the next step is planting the seeds. Now, the backs of the packages is going to tell you how deep you want to plant the seeds, and that is pretty important. So for instance, the peppers are a 1/4 inch, so are the tomatoes, but the cucumbers are a 1/2 inch deep, and the summer squash, the zucchini, is 1 inch deep. So I have actually concocted on a pencil, nothing too fancy. I took a pencil and I marked on here where there's an 1/8 inch, a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, and 1 inch. So when I stick the pencil into the dirt, I know exactly how far I've gone. So it makes it a lot easier to plant seeds accurately. And also when you're planting seeds, you're going to want to put 2 in each seed cell. That guarantees germination. A lot of the times, for some reason, some seeds just don't germinate under any condition. They could be old or just expired. So it's always good to put 2 seeds in each cell just to guarantee that germination. So I'm going to go ahead and plant these right now. Okay, so now that all of the seeds are planted, you can always just bring the dirt back over, what you've kind of moved out of the way. But I kind of like to add just another thin layer on top just to flatten it out, because I feel like all I've done was compact the dirt down and not necessarily, having the extras on the sides to put back in the holes. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another thin layer of dirt on top. Now, before we put the dome lids on, you want to make sure to give them a good water, and using a spray bottle is the easiest method, and it helps with the absorption of the water somehow in the dirt. So just give it a good spray, make sure your seeds are nice and moisturized. Again, letting them dry out is going to make it so they don't germinate at all. Okay, so now we're going to cover them up, and we're going to turn on the lights and plug in the heating mat. Again, make sure the dome air holes are closed. Note how close I have the light to the dome. You want to have it as close as possible. So here is the non-heat mat experiment with light, without light, and here is the heat mat experiment with light and without light. So we will definitely come back every day and do a quick update until we start seeing germination.
So as you can notice, the 2 seed cell trays that are on the heat mat have a lot more condensation than the ones that are not on the heat mat. So far, the light seems to not have too big of a factor on that. There is no germination in any seed cell tray at the end of day 1. On day 2, the condensation is pretty much the same for the ones on the heat mat versus not under heat, and we still have no germination for any of the ones that have no heat. The ones that did have heat are slowly starting to germinate, mostly the zucchinis and the cucumbers. By the end of day 3, you can see the condensation is still very strong on the ones that have heat, and it's pretty decent in the ones that don't have heat, but definitely more with one that has light. The germination rate for the heat mat is getting pretty good. The cucumbers and some of the zucchinis are already starting to pop up about 1.5 inches tall. By the end of day 4, condensation remains pretty much the same on both the ones under heat and not under heat. The ones under the heat mat and under the light have a pretty decent germination of about 2 to 3 inches tall, and the ones that don't have light are pretty much equally the same. The ones without heat are starting to germinate at a very slow process. We are now at the end of day 5. So as you notice, these plants are about 4 to 5 inches tall already, and the ones that don't have light are starting to try to grow towards the light. On the ones that have the light and the heat have a almost 100% germination rate. The ones without heat are starting to germinate and grow pretty steadily, and we have about a 60% germination rate, with some of them even having 2 seeds sprouted in each cell. The ones without the light and the heat have about a 50% germination rate, and they don't look so well, and they're trying to grow towards the light as well. So now I'm going to take the secondary plant that grew from each cell, and I'm going to try to slowly and carefully remove it from the dirt and get the root and transplant it into a bigger pot just to attempt to save the plant and see if I can't get another plant to grow from it. I don't like to see any vegetable plant go to waste if I can help it, so I always try to save those second or third ones even. I'm going to give it a nice good water, and I'm also going to keep it underneath the light, but not with the heat. This is about the time that I turn the fan on and I let my plants start recognizing what wind is going to be like, so I can get them ready for the hardening off process. I'm going to do the same with the rest of these secondary plants. It takes time for them to get big enough to withstand the transplant. So I said I was going to start showing you guys my quote on my counter every video. Today's quote is, "If you don't like the road you're walking, start paving another one." This is by Dolly Parton, and I kind of take from it that if you're just not happy where things are going in your life, just put in the hard work and dedication to get to where you are happy. I enjoy little quotes like these, and I hope you guys are taking something from it as well. So we are on day 6, and I didn't even have to let it go this long, but I really wanted to show you how fast these seeds germinate and then grow once they do. So most of the seeds germinated within 2 or 3 days. The ones that were under the heat and light are a little bit different than the ones that weren't. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in and show you an individual clip of each tray to show you how dramatic that heat and light really were in germinating seeds. Okay, so we're going to start with the ones that were not on any heat mat. So this tray had about a 75% germination rate. I'd say that it's pretty impressive for having no heat on it or light. Each tray got about, actually we have more than 2 that have germinated. So I must have dropped an extra seed in that one. So it's pretty impressive for no heat and light. Now the one that had the light without heat, the plants are a little bit taller. We did have the equal amount of germination rate to this. So we don't have peppers, which is a long germination process. So I'm gonna say that's pretty similar without the heat. The light didn't have too much of a factor. The ones that did have the heat had a 100% germination, and all of them pretty much germinated too. So usually we have some that fail, as you know from the last clip that we did take 3 cucumbers out and plant them separately just to not root bound themselves in here. So the light and heat definitely had a big factor. I mean, you can see how tall even this zucchini is. The one that had the heat with no light
still had a pretty decent germination rate. I mean, look, the length of this is just incredible to me. We did not have 2 germinate from these seed cell trays, which is kind of weird for both the zucchini and the cucumbers. But the tomatoes we have 3 actually growing out of those, and this one does have peppers growing. So the heat obviously plays a factor with the peppers, since the 2 under the light without heat have no peppers coming up. So most people go to the store if they want to grow a garden, and they spend between $1 and $3, if not more, on each individual plant. So when you put into consideration how much it costs to have a grow light, which cost me about $20, and that's on the high end. So it has actually 4 that I can individually control which lights are being used. You can control the color if you want more of a yellow versus a red or purple. $20 for this light. And then the heat mat cost me about $10 on Amazon. So for $30, you would have a setup that would last you years and years to come, with the cost obviously of just the seed cell trays, which were $5 for a 15 pack of these. So when you add this all up, you are spending $50 that will last you many, many years, and you can clearly see how quick it was to just come plant some seeds in there and just spritz them every single day with water. After about a week, obviously, as we're seeing, they're ready to go. You just don't want to put them outside right away. They have to be 5 weeks old before you start hardening them off to adapt them to that natural sunlight. So you're just basically gonna baby them, and if they start to get too big, such as these, you will just transplant them into something a little bit bigger. And just keep a small light source on them for, whether it's 6 or 12 hours a day, just to mimic the day and night so they're not shocked when they go outside. But I mean, you can see how easy this was. It's quick, it's organic, it's natural. I think everyone needs to grow their own food, or at least have the ability and the knowledge to do it if they need to. So I hope you guys gain something from this. I'm excited for spring, and I'm sure everyone else is as well. And I can't wait to get these in the ground, and we will show a video of us planting all these in the ground when that time comes. I'd say in about a month. But on that note, cheers.